Hello everyone, I'm Callum, captain here on Argo, our two-masted 112-foot stay-sail schooner. We're in Cape Town, South Africa, and right now we're bending or putting on our freshly repaired forward staysail in preparation for our transatlantic voyage. We'll be making our way to Antigua over the next 2.5 months, stopping at St. Helena, Fernando de Noronha, Devil's Island, Barbados, Dominica, and a few other places along the way. Let's have a look at what we've been up to over the last several days in preparation for our grand voyage.
Okay, so we have like more than 100 meters of anchor chain, and most of the time just the first chunk of that anchor chain ends up in the water. So today we are taking all of the chain out of the anchor locker, flaking it out on deck, and then putting it in the opposite way that it was before, just so we can use the part of the chain that we aren't usually using. So right now we're transferring the weight of the anchor onto another line so we can detach that chain and then get started.
We good?
Okay, so right now we have the entire chain flaked out on deck, which gives us the opportunity to untwist it and clean it before repainting and putting it back in. So right now Ben and Nicole are scrubbing. We're going to try to dry scrub off a lot of the mud and dust, and then we're shop vacuuming it up just to create less mud when eventually we go to spray it off, and then clean, and we'll paint on new markers after that. Every 30 meters is called a shot. So as we're anchoring, we'll get a call from the captain to put out a certain number of shots. We have our shots labeled by color, so every 30 meters there's a color, and we remember it with buy your grandma red panties, blue, yellow, green, red, pink.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm one of the marine scientists and dive instructors on board. I am also the underlord of this program, so that means everything below deck I'm responsible for. So right now, Khaki is at Macro doing some shopping. We are provisioning for the first 50 days of program, getting us all the way across the Atlantic. Shortly we'll have a boat full of students here to help us put everything away and to create their menus to feed us all the way through St. Helena.
All right, we just bought 9 carts worth of provisions, getting ready for our Atlantic crossing. Hopefully all of this food will take us through more than half of the trip. So we're expecting this to last for about 50 days, and just stocking up on fresh provisions in between. And now we have to figure out how to get this stuff into a truck and back on the boat.
So it's day 1, arrival day here on Argo. We're doing our final preparations before the students arrive. We've got our crew doing their last deck wash up above decks, and we've got some friends doing floor scrubs and putting things away down below decks. After a couple late arrivals, we now have our full crew complement. Everybody has arrived and the impossible has been achieved because those huge duffels have been unpacked into bunk bags and cubbies. Let's take a tour of the boat.
another watertight door as well. And what we have to check is that the shaft housing is not getting too hot on our boat checks, and we're going to go through that a bit more when we get underway, and it's a bit more obvious when it's actually spinning. You'll have to come back here every hour of the day when we're underway, and basically use this thermal laser to check the temperature of the engine, of the shaft. So, cool. So you'll be coming back here by yourself quite often.
Is that like at night too?
Yeah, 24/7. Yeah. Okay, and then if you turn around, we have 2 generators in here. So the reason you have 2 is just one as a backup, because we need the generators to make our water on board and to run certain things. But also by having 2, it means that the load on one is less. We don't have to use the same one over and over again.
Alrighty guys, so this is our galley. This is where we cook all of our food on program. Right here we've got our freezer, so this is going to store all of our meats and frozen vegetables that is going to help us cross the ocean 2 weeks at a time with provisions wise. As we come on into our galley here, we've got our big fridge. This holds all of our fresh produce and dairy products. And we've got our mini fridge. This will hold our leftovers and our milks and butters as well. Then in here, we've got our stovetop. Our stovetop is propane, so you use a lighter to turn it on. And our oven is electrical. So anytime we run the oven, we have to turn the generator on. So you guys will just let us know when you need it, and we can get the gen rocking and rolling and get her up and running. Otherwise, up in here, you've got your coffees and teas nice and stocked up top for you, so you can make hot water at any time. Bring that up to your night watches, keep yourself warm throughout the evening, caffeinate yourself in the mornings for your 8 to 12s, all the good stuff. And then breakfast foods also just live in there, so you guys can grab what you need in the morning when you're hungry.
Okay, so before we can get underway, we need everyone to know about the different kind of safety measures and life-saving equipment we have on board. The 3 things that you were given in your bunk are your Gumby suit. That's like what we like to call the immersion suit. This thing will keep water out and it'll keep you floating in the event that we have to evacuate ship. This is the Type 1 life jacket. We will also be utilizing these in the case of abandoning ship. These guys will keep your head out of the water. And then the normal kind of flotation device that we're wearing on a day-to-day is the Type 5. The Type 5 is just a little bit more comfortable, easy to wear, but different than the Type 1, is not going to keep your head out of water. So in the event of an abandoned ship, these 2 are things. In any kind of emergency, if you hear an alarm, we'll bring all 3 of these things as we muster in the cockpit. Some other things that we might be grabbing in the case of an emergency are the grab bags. These big yellow bags here, they're mostly filled with emergency food, rations, water, but also some life-saving stuff like some first aid, radar reflector, a little manual water maker pump. This is our flares to signal for attention if we needed it. And then the last thing we'll do today is go up on deck, look at some of our fire suppression systems. We'll get the trash pump out and we'll practice shooting fire hose.
Everyone's had quite a big day here in Cape Town, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So how we split all of the jobs up on Argo is with this job wheel. So there's a bunch of different roles around the wheel, and all of our names align with the spot, and you have a different job every single day. For example, we have people that can make bread, who are deckies, who scrub the deck, who clean the dishes. But a really big job is chef. So once every 20 days, you're the head chef for the day, and you get to create your own meal plan. So right now, Ben is at the supermarket, and he is buying a bunch of food so that the chefs can make their gourmet meals on board.
What does arugula mean, hey? I don't understand. Oh, rocket. Fruit.
super essential for our vitamins when we're underway. Let's go.
All right, we've got so much food now with provisions back on the boat. We've got a handy food map over here that tells us where everything lives. So I've got coconut milk for our curry dinner, and we know from our map that it's gonna be up here in the starboard 3 stack, so it's nice and easy to find it and put it away.
Sorry, that's a mess.
Hello everyone, my name is Ben. I'm from Wales in the UK. I'm a marine scientist and scuba instructor on board Argo, and I'm sitting here in front of our library where we've got the fish ID books and lots of our course material. I'll be teaching the marine bio course this semester, and we've got lots of fun things planned while we're here in Cape Town and throughout the trip. But specifically, we'll be doing a kayaking trip off out the V&A. We'll also be doing a bio blitz around to try and find lots of different marine life that we're actually surrounded by 24/7 as we're harbored here, and also kelp exploration, snorkel. It's really lovely to be able to introduce the students to the temperate marine environment and then transition into the more tropical coral-based environments as we head up into the Caribbean.
So on Argo, we handle all of our lines completely manually. We don't have anything electric to do it for us. It's all just by muscle. And to do that, we use what's called a pin rail. So this is a pin rail, and these are the pins. Our lines are made off on these pins around them, and we operate with a few different commands. So the commands are going to be stand by. That means coming to the line that you're about to use, taking it off the pin, and leaving it on the deck in a coil so you're ready to go. The next command that you might hear is ready. In that case, you respond back that you're readying the pin, and in that one, you're going to take the line off of the pin and down to what we call a C-turn. So the line just has one wrap around the pin, keeping tension on and waiting for the next call. The next call you hear could be ease. So in that situation, you're keeping some tension on the line, pinkies first for safety, and slowly easing some tension off the line until you hear the person leading the sail say hold. In that case, you're holding, leaning against the line, keeping the tension on because you never really know how much tension is going to be in the line when you have sails up, and then you're waiting for further response. The next command you hear could be make, and that will be just making off the pin. So we're using one palm to kind of hold down some of the pressure as we use our other hand to wrap around the pin, keeping a lot of pressure throughout, and then putting in a locking turn here to make it off completely. And then you're made. 2 is ready, 6, pull back. With their body weight, you can put a ton of weight there, lean all the way back, you're pulling it towards you, and then bring it back in, down, and towards the pin. So the motion looks like this. 2, 6. Big triangle out towards you, and then back towards the pin. As you're doing that, the tailor is keeping pressure on here and just taking in as much as they can as the sweater is bringing it back.
We've just finished our introductory lecture and all the students are out on what we call a bio blitz. So they're walking around the V&A Marina currently trying to find as many different marine species as they can. And here behind me you've got the Cape Fur Seal haul out area, and it's super lovely to be able to show the students this close interaction with them, as well as all the other marine life here.
They all go crazy.
Doing a bio blitz. We're trying to find as many species as we can, and we only have 1 hour.
Yeah, we're calling this like brown mossy seaweed. We're on number 24. We got barnacle, we got green algae, seagull, reddish brown crab, harbor seal, cormorant, purple seaweed, pigeon, large leafy seaweed, minnows, yellowish squirt, clear silver striped squirt, box jelly, mussels, small 2-inch fish with stripes, grayish, shrimp, egret, little, brown algae, little, brown tube worm, orange sponge, green sponge, stringy white seaweed, brown mossy seaweed.
Hi, my name's Paula. I'm a member here at Station 3 in the V&A waterfront. We've got a new boat here. We had to renovate and rebuild the base to accommodate it. And I know you guys are dying to see all the equipment and the toys. Let me show you around. GPS, radar, everything else. We've got a FLIR, which is a forward-looking infrared on the roof.
Hi guys, I'm Nicole. I'm one of the mates aboard Argo. Today's really exciting because we get to take Argo sailing for the first time. So right now we are preparing the boat for a passage. We just took the pass rail down. This is our boarding plank, how we get on and off. Come with me, I'll take you around and show you what else is going on. So Kaki is getting our halyards sorted out right now so we can lift the sails in the air. We got our strong guys on the pin rail right now. Say hey guys.
We all wore matching outfits.
Yeah, if you can't tell, this is the gray team. What are you guys working on?
We just hoisted the thing that you walk on to get off the boat.
The pass rail.
Yep, there you go.
Cool.
Hoisted the thingy.
The walkie thing. Yeah. All right, and then on the port side over here, we are securing and lashing down one of our dinghies that we have. Make sure nothing goes flying or swimming. And then up on the bow, we have Callum working on our kedge. This is one of our anchors that helps us stay apart from the dock. Then all the way up on the bowsprit. What are you guys working on up here, Kara?
Getting our anchor.
Yeah, so they're assisting bringing the kedge in so we can get ready to go sailing.
And keep tension on that tail. Bow's clear. We're clear of that sound line. Thanks.
Pontoon opening at 45.
Yes. Clean one first and then the net. Okay, so far we've left the harbour this morning and we've motored out into Table Bay so that we could set some sails. There's not a lot of wind right now, but we're going to put up the full mainsail, which is now up. We're next going to put up the main staysail followed by the forward staysail. And although there's no wind right now, it's nice and flat out here in the bay, so we can just motor around and practice some maneuvering with the sails. So guys, we're trucking along. We're making about 7 to 8 knots. We're looking at a wind speed of around 36 to 40 knots, which is gale force wind. So this is really good practice. The reason we've shortened the mainsail is because we'd be overpowered if we had the full main up. So for that reason, we've got 2 reefs in. Okay. This wind angle we're trying to sail is the closest angle that we can get to the wind. So we're sailing upwind. And if we're sailing upwind, it means that we're creating more apparent wind the faster we sail. So although our apparent wind speed is 36, 37 knots, the actual wind speed is probably a bit less, maybe 33 or 34 knots. And right now we're about 2 miles away from the harbor entrance. We're going to try and get right up into the harbor where there'll be a bit more shelter so that we can drop sails.
So I went up there, I tightened the anchor, I got splashed on this side. Then I went to tighten a rope, got splashed on the other side. Then I moved further back to get away from the water, got a full frontal splash. So now I'm here. It's been good.
It's been a full day, that's for sure. Actually, we had to start last night preparing.
Taking off the covers, putting ropes and such away. And then this morning, taking the fenders off, tossing ropes up to the dock.
And then things got legit extremely fast.
And now we're sailing. And we've got 3 out of 5 sails up. And we've been just tacking and jiving back and forth and back and forth.
We were floating along, everything was great. And then this kite surfer crashes down next to us, almost hitting the boat.
Line snapped.
And yep, line snapped. And we tried to help her, but actually we did help her. The amazing National Sea Rescue Institute
of South African Waters, right?
Yes. And helped her because of Argo.
It was white and blue. White color.
So there's a combination with a blue and yellow fibers. It's not in safe for short, it's a female.
I think
This female with a hot pink helmet?
pink helmet, yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks so much.
We'll go double check now.
Okay, give me a ride.
Thank you.
It was female, you're right.
Hi guys, it's Ben again. We're here with our second practical of the program in the Marine Bio course. We're at Miller's Point. This is the place where my Octopus teacher was filmed, and we watched this last night on the boat, and now we're here going to hopefully go and see some of the similar animals. Behind me is the kelp forest that we're going to go and explore. We're going to not only try and find some animals for their assignments and let them go and explore the forest a bit, we're also going to collect some seaweed for dinner tomorrow and have in the freezer for when we get underway to St. Helena. Primary purpose of this is just to get you in the water, looking at things, get you interested in what we're seeing, hopefully see some of the small pajama sharks, octopus that we saw last night. But also, the aim is also to collect some different species of seaweed. I'll have one of these bags, Nicole will have one of these bags. So towards the end of the snorkel, we'll go around. I've got a couple of dive knives as well, so we can go down and pick the seaweed. The thing with seaweed foraging that's key is we should never pick up seaweed that's floating at the surface, like detached from rocks or from the beach. These are considered dead and might be starting a decomposition process. So whenever we pick seaweed, it always wants to be fresh and from alive. Also, we want to avoid taking too much from one plant. So we're going to look at taking about 1/3 at max of one individual, just to allow it to kind of recover in the future and not kill it. And we want to try and take new growth as well. So we want to look for those smaller fronds, or smaller kind of leaves per se of the seaweed, and take those rather than the big old battered ones. So we just got back to the boat. Everyone's got a few rosy cheeks from the sun today, but I'm actually cutting 2 species of rack that we collected today. I'm making a pickle with these species, and then tomorrow I will be making, with the rest, with the kelp in here, in this bowl, some bolognese, while the rest of the crew is getting ready
for passage tomorrow.
So this morning we are refueling the boat, or bunkering as it's also called. We take diesel. We have 5 tanks altogether, 4 main holding tanks, and then 1 day tank which feeds the machinery. So we're fueling now. Fuel's coming down this long hose into the filler caps. Shane's got his hand at the ready on the nozzle.
I'm feeling and listening for when the tank is getting full. So as you're filling the tank and it's mostly empty, the flow will sound the same, for the first 2,800 liters. And then for the last 50 or so liters of this particular tank, you'll start to hear the pitch change just a little bit. And then you'll start to hear some gurgling. And that's when you know that you're getting really close, and you slow down the flow so that it doesn't shoot up at you and make a big mess and potentially an environmental hazard. Although we have all the fueling in this enclosed space, which prevents any possibility of spilling diesel into the ocean.
We are cooking some seaweed to go in our pasta for tonight's meal that we harvested yesterday when we went free diving in a kelp forest where there's an abundance of rack seaweed.
Nice. And the reason we're cooking with this seaweed is not only was it a great experience to learn all about the importance of seaweeds for the ecosystem and for our planet, but also they're incredibly good for us to consume. So they're very high in dietary fiber, micro and macronutrients. So hopefully the rest of the crew really like it in our spaghetti bolognese that we're making after a long day out in the big winds in the bay.
And it's really yummy too.
Nice. Okay, so for dinner today, we have spaghetti bolognese made by myself and Talia. We actually chucked in a bit of the seaweed we collected yesterday, the rack species and the kelp. And the reason why it's really interesting and important that we kind of eat this kind of food is because it's very high in dietary fiber, micro and macronutrients, especially iodine. Iodine's a mineral that a lot of our diets will struggle to get an adequate amount of. So by eating seaweed, we're actually going to be getting our daily amount of iodine very easily. But enjoy. We got the 3 seaweed pickle out again. We got some more up there, and everyone can eat everything apart from the cheese.
Okay, so it's been a bit of a process planning this passage from Cape Town to St. Helena. I can show you what I do on the computer. I'll normally start by plotting the course that we're going to have to take. And this blue route represents our path all the way to St. Helena, slap bang in the middle of the Atlantic, all the way up to our anchorage at Jamestown. I consult various cruising guides and pilotage guides, which give me a lot of the detailed information I need to know for entering and departing from ports and harbors and any other pertinent information along the way. I'll also start to build what we call a passage plan. It's got a detailed layout of our fuel plan, arrival and departure ports, clearances and information, a weather forecast for the first 4 or 5 days, because beyond that it's not really accurate anymore. I use a program over here called Predict Wind, which gives us a nifty weather routing feature, and it'll plot the course from start to finish, giving us a rough idea of how we could consider routing through the weather that's forecasted for the foreseeable future. Looking now, it looks like we're likely to have a headwind coming out of Cape Town, which is quite unusual for this part of the world. Normally the prevailing winds blow from the south or the southwest, so interesting that we've got a northerly blowing us in the face. But it should only last a day or so before the wind dies, and then it'll swing around to come back behind us going into the weekend. And before too long, we expect to have some pretty exciting wind behind us, sailing on runs and deep broad reaches, which should swiftly sweep us away towards St. Helena to make good time. 11 or 12 days if we're averaging 6 knots cruising speed, But with some good wind, we could be averaging up to 8 knots and shave that time down by a day or 2.
I'm today's skipper, so I'm in charge of the passage prep checklist, making sure the boat's all ready to go. Nothing will tip over when we're underway.
Okay, I'm just putting on the stove fiddles, and the stove fiddles are used to protect pots and pans when cooking on board while sailing. So, for example, like let's say we're cooking chili or something, this won't go flying at anybody or fly and spill, but protect it and keep it secure.
We've got a lot to go. We haven't done anything in the engine room. We need to get our bunks and cabins 40-40, hatches closed and dogged, and all the watertight doors dogged. The chart house needs some cleaning. And on deck, I don't know what's happening because the South African sun is blazing.
Alrighty guys, we're about to do something incredible. We're about to do something most people have never done or will never do in their lives. Currently 11:24, we're trying to make the 45 bridge opening, so we need to hustle a bit. We're gonna get Nopes in the water with Shane and a friend, and Kaki's gonna split you guys up onto line handling on deck. As soon as we come off here, we're gonna head out the bridge. On the way out there, and maybe even while we're line handling, if anyone's spare, they can carry on threading the mermaid line on the forward staysail. Alrighty, let's do things.
I would come over a wave, and I thought that the wind would just take my bow and blow me over. All right, so grab it. Clear, pull.
Swing bridge, this is Argo. We've slipped lines at North Key and are proceeding to the swing bridge. Over.
Copy, I'm opening now.
Forward fall first, forward fall down. Forward fall on, take in. Zach, Kiki, Olympus, can you guys guide her in? Oh, you can ease a little faster on the bow. Oh, hold. All right, ease. All right, alignment looks good on the bow.
Table Mountain will soon become a distant memory as we trim that jib and set sail towards St. Helena. We aim to cover almost 2,000 nautical miles on this passage to this remote mid-Atlantic island in roughly 12 days. If you'd like to join us as a student on a future voyage, or just learn more about Seamester, then head to our website linked in the description below. If you have any questions for us, then please ask in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to follow our epic 6,700 nautical mile journey to Antigua.